Hello, everyday goddesses and divine feminines. Welcome to this week's reading. We're going to be looking at how he felt the last time he saw you when you guys were together. And we're not just doing this for nostalgia. We're going to look at what happened energetically there, what trajectory that sent the divine masculine on in terms of his journey, and what's shifting for him now. So we're just going to kind of look at the wave that's just sort of occurred. And we're going to do this, divine feminine, so that you can get yourself nice and grounded and anchored for the next cycle that's coming, which is really a cycle for you to be, grounding yourself and looking inward and focusing on giving yourself as much growth and love as possible. It's coming out in so many of the readings these days, as well as the astrology. So let's get into some details here. All right. Also, just wanted to say hi and hello to my new subscribers. I want to thank you guys so much for hitting those like buttons and subscribing and sharing. Leave me comments. It really does help to grow the channel and get this supportive information out there for all of you. So we're going to start today. We've got 4 decks. Take a deep breath. We've got first pile 1, the Arcanum Tarot, with this lovely yellow jasper in the 3rd chakra. We've got the Radiant Rider Waite, and we've got the a lapis lazuli here for the throat chakra. We have the Goddess Tarot with this beautiful piece of it might look a little dull there. It's quite shiny and spectacular. It's pyrite, which is also 3rd chakra. So we've got a lot of power here today. Manifestation, abundance, and the Starchild Tarot with the Celestine heart. The Celestine is to open the crown chakra and get you connected to your higher self. Of course, everybody loves that heart shape there. So go ahead and take a deep breath. Get yourself tuned in, connected, make a choice. Be in the timestamps, of course. And we will get started here. So let me get these put to the side. I'm looking at the next yoga workshop that I'm going to do, and honestly, I'm going back and forth a little bit between doing another deep karmic cleanse or healing of the heart. So if anybody wants to make some comments below, let me know what they'd prefer for the next Kundalini yoga workshop, or you can always send me an email from my website too. You can also reach me there for private readings. So let's take a look. How do you feel the last time you two were together? Knight of Swords. King of Swords. Wow. And the 8 of Wands. And what trajectory did that send him on? King of Pentacles. Knight of Cups. And the Strength card. That's lovely. And what's shifting right now? The 4 of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles. And the Page of Swords. All right, so let's just start here for a bit. The last time he saw you, he was a bit of an a-hole, okay, to you. The Knight of Swords can be someone who's very, he was really cutting with his words. He said some nasty things, and he's aware of it. Some of it, honestly, and I know this is a little bit of a trigger alert, some of it might have had some truth in it, divine feminine. So you might want to take a little time to look sort of inside the harshness of what got said, into what might actually be useful for you, as painful as that might be. I know that's not always easy to do, right? But he did have a certain clarity about the relationship and where it stands. It's just that he said things in ways that were cruel. And conversely, he knows that he did that. He sees that in himself. Oddly, his ability to speak, even though it was haphazard and kind of awful, ended up creating an energetic opening for him, because he did articulate his truth. And as a result, Spirit brought in a huge download towards him, into him. He definitely saw a lot of truth about where your connection lies right now, or at least at that time. And I'm actually going to jump, because I'd like to find out a little bit about what it was that he saw about the connection. Hearing your voice. I'm going to pull a cosmic reading card as well too. I want to go a little deeper here. Usually, and I've been going straight down the line, but I want to sort of get a sense about what the clarity was about. Worlds within worlds. Well, that's all real positive. This is kind of connecting to this card here. I know this might be a little rough. I'm going to go on the other side here too and see kind of some of the truths. Is there anything here in the truth of what he said that you can use? Emotionally detached. Surprised. So, Divine Feminine, as much as you think that you're the one that's having all the emotions in this relationship, the truth of the matter is that there are ways here that you are emotionally detached. I know we tend to think of that as being the divine masculine. This is kind of coming out a little hard here. But emotionally detached also in this case means that you often are acting out of triggers, like surface emotions, and not the actual true depth of feeling. There's not a lot of emotional connection into the higher emotions, meaning higher love, unconditional love. I would refer you to there's a book called Power versus Force, where it talks about the levels of emotions and consciousness. And what this is saying, what Spirit is coming through and saying, that a lot of times you'll hook yourself down into some of the darker emotions like fear, jealousy, resentment, anger, and sort of spin out in those lower levels. And it's not actually authentically true to the highest version of you. So this is about you speaking, acting, reacting out of more of a lower consciousness trigger state than a higher clarity. So this is a huge amount of work here, Divine Feminine. If you pick pile one, I really would get that. It's Stephen. I'll put it in the comments. What's his name? Stephen Atkins. Power versus Force is the book. And it's about like up leveling your emotional states, becoming more grounded and more solid. And the surprise comes out is because this is like when this happens with you, he gets really thrown. He gets really, really thrown back by it. He doesn't really know how to manage any woman when she's in that state. So it's like detached from emotional truth in here. Okay? So I know that that's like a little difficult to hear, but this is about you becoming more stable. And the truth of the matter is that the more elevated and the more stable you become, the more that he can relax into the connection. Because these both swords coming out, he was really up in his head about it. Right? It's a challenge for him to drop into his emotional body and connect with you emotionally, because it's a little scary for him to do that, because I'm getting this image of sort of like there's like a wild snake in the grass. Okay? So he's not going to drop down and connect with you that way until you get more rock solid in that. Now, I know for months now, for about a year now, I've been giving Kundalini yoga classes, which are a great way to stabilize the emotions. TM is really great. Any kind of regular meditational practice, and you becoming more aware of when you're reacting out of a trigger, or when you're authentically connected to the depths of who you are in an angelic state. Doesn't mean you can't be sad or angry, but it's about being connected versus reactive. Now, this download, though, that came from him sort of standing in his power a little bit, in this King of Swords, this sort of flash of enlightenment and clarity that he got, moved into the spiritual download. And as a result, even though he had this sort of almost feeling of wanting to get away, now he's in a state of hearing your voice. There's something that happened in this download. See the yellow over here and this yellow here. There was like a third chakra connection that strengthened, if your twin flames, strengthened the twin cord between the two of you. And as painful as it might have been for you, it came from him sort of nailing you a little bit. He kind of, yeah. And the depth, this worlds within worlds card, he's starting to get a sense that the connection is beyond space and time, that the two of you have existed in other dimensions, other lives. He might not be articulating it that way, but he sort of very suddenly came out of a darkness into this deep connection, and he's having those synchronistic things where he's, talking to you while he's driving, or hearing your voice in his dreams, that sort of thing. Something kind of cracked open here on him. All right. The trajectory that it sent him on, again, was actually really quite positive. So we've got the King of Pentacles, which is like the husband card. He stepped into his power, like I said, and has this beautiful combination here of the King of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups. He started to feel actually really quite romantic with you. It's almost like the sun came out after this storm inside of him, and he started to experience more compassion, more strength, more courage. He starts to feel, he's been feeling really capable of being, the kind of man that can take care of a family, take care of a wife. He's got this offer of love coming towards you. So it's almost sort of like the makeup, the makeup sex, the makeup after the breakup, right? There was something about it. He got something out of it. He discharged something really sort of dark out of his system that he needed to get off his chest, and it created a lot of space. Now, he's a bit wobbly because after this beautiful center here, what's coming is definitely a new start, but he's dragging his feet. He's trying to sort of slow things down a bit and holding on to the past. Again, this Page of Swords comes out, which again is this kind of this return to this sort of cutting communication. I think in a certain way, because he got a certain power out of that, and he felt a little bit like he's one-upped you a little bit, that he'd kind of like to hold on to that a little bit. He wants to stay in control of the connection. And he thinks by kind of rerouting through that and hanging on to the way things, were before, that he can sort of control what this new beginning looks like. But I got news for him. That's not going to work out too well. So there's definitely a possibility of some conflict coming through a little bit for you guys. So just be aware of his communication skills and how just kind of how difficult that he can sort of be. So just, I would sort of prepare yourself for that, right? That energy of the Page of Swords, he can be a little careless, and he's still prone to saying, hurtful things. All right. He charged in the first time, and it's almost like he sort of has a little bit of a mistaken idea about really where that power came from. This is sort of one of these situations where the twins come together and sort of like something awful, some kind of awful things get said and done. And then this is like they separate, and in the separation, he started to feel really quite good about the connection. But the coming together again for the next beginning is a little rocky. This card here, this Four of Pentacles, can also, to me, it's representing him being kind of cheap with you or holding back. Like he's a bit of a withholder. That can be emotionally, but also sort of financially. It's really interesting that it falls under this King of Pentacles, because he's got the capacity to be that, generous, abundant man, but it's almost like he doesn't really want to give that away at this point. He's still very guarded. And yet the universe is dragging him into this new beginning and this new cycle. But Divine Feminine, I just prepare yourself that, what's going on with him in this beautiful interior shift. He has not really learned how to really bring that forward. There's like a veil or a wall of kind of crappy behavior that he still has, really honestly, withholding, being a little nasty. It's not really what's going on inside of him, and that is not to justify it. For you, know that big, beautiful shift is here, and he knows this connection is really deep, but you want to be really drawing some boundaries in terms of what behaviors you will tolerate and not tolerate. And I am never one for blocking people or, getting into unnecessary fights. This is an opportunity for you, Divine Feminine, to learn how to draw the line in a healthier way, drawing on that strength. Okay, let's take a little bit more let's see what the Romancer cards are saying. I think you guys are anxious for some religious factors. Your love life is influenced by religious upbringing and spiritual path. Now, that might not be true for all of you. I think for some of you that is. And for some of this cutting language can be like he has judgments. He has judgments about your spiritual and religious outlook. I'm getting that he's more traditional. I got a really strong, like Islam, for some of you, there's a strong Islamic thing here. And the fact that you may be more spiritual and not as traditional. There's something patriarchal with these Knights of Swords, Page of Swords, King of Swords. This guy is he's patriarchal and kind of sexist, and there's not a lot of space here for divine goddess energy. Yeah, he likes to, control, power, trying to stay on top of you, telling you what's true, what's not true. And it's complicated by that fact that there are some things in your behaviors and energy fields that he does see very clearly, but don't let that give him the space to then try and just completely dominate the spiritual energies of connection. Because also religious factors, they can really shut down, minimize, and contract and bind in the spiritual nature of the twin flame connection. It's disturbing to him. For those of you that this applies to, because, he's having this sort of otherworldly experience on the inside. This also explains why so many warriors holding on. This woo-woo stuff has gotten him kind of unnerved. And, when a wild animal gets put in a corner, they can lash out. This is somebody who lashes out and defends themselves, defensiveness, clinging. He's clinging to this old world view. Oof, yeah. I'm going to take a Lover's Oracle in this one as well. I've been pulling out the same decks for this week's read, but emotions are a natural and necessary part of life, but they can also distort your perception and cloud your vision. In order to see things clearly, you must let go of resentment. Okay, so we're going to put this over here, because this is, again, this is underlying and clarifying the emotional issues that get you actually detached. This is what I meant about emotional. You might say, well, any emotion that I'm having means I'm emotionally connected, but this is a little bit more of a clear definition about what it is to be emotionally centered. So when you're filled with resentment, and boy, there could be a lot, because this is someone who has said some really awful stuff, and some of it's completely off base. Some of it is off base, some of it's not. So there's been a very big build of resentment here. Now, what you do with this resentment over the next cycle is going to have a really profound impact on where this connection heads. Okay, so we're going to get some intense guidance for you, Divine Feminine, because this is not a smooth re-entry. So I want you to be prepared. All right, we're going to look here. The Lightworkers Oracle, Warrior Woman, have you answered your deepest calling? Well, that's really interesting. Starseed Oracle, we're gonna go out to outer space for a little bit here. Feeling that. 7 Star Sisters, Birthing Creations, Tapestry of Life, an expression. I'm going to pull a bunch here because I want you to have some support for sure. Magic. Well, I mean, come on. One after another after another. And boy, talk about religious factors. So Spirit's asking you to double down. Double down on your light worker identity. Don't let his small-mindedness pause. This is a pause in your journey. Okay, this is a pause in your journey with him. All right? And it's a well-needed one because there's a possibility of a lot of fighting here. This is a new start for sure, but the new start is going to require a little bit of a timeout. And it's a very purposeful timeout for you. Okay, so we've got here, warrior woman, have you answered your deepest calling? This is about mission. You finding, if you haven't already, your divine feminine twin flame mission, or your soul mission, your soul's calling. This is about you putting aside all the excuses for why you haven't been, stepping into that highest vision of yourself and, getting that Reiki attunement, or, whatever it is that's been calling to you in terms of becoming a light worker, a healer. And it doesn't mean it has to be your main profession, but this is reminding you, Divine Feminine, that you incarnated this time to take on a job to heal the planet. This is going to, the work of doing this, stepping into a study of healing or energy work, this is going to get you much more deeply emotional connected into the higher plane. It's going to stabilize you. The seven star sisters, birthing creations, tapestry of life, expression. Okay, so that's the Pleiades, the seven star sisters. So this means that you have Pleiadian energy. You could go out, find the Pleiades in the star sky, meditate, download from there. This is also birthing creation. So for you, in addition or with the healing work, this also might be about you doing your creative work, painting, music, whatever, creating art with the intention of expanding and healing your audience. Alchemy and magic. You are so much more magical than you even have realized. Look at your hands. Look at that light coming through. That beautiful sacred circle, sacred feminine circle, and the chakras spinning. All right. And the epoch and the journey, I actually want to take a little read in here too, because I just love these Celtic oracles. When epoch is drawn, it may feel like life has been split down the middle. The corresponding card in traditional tarot decks is the Tower. This process can be traumatizing and painful, but all meaningful change comes after a time of great destruction, a clearing out of the old to make way for the new. Just like volcanoes and earthquakes will violently rock the planet to create new continents, cataclysmic and destructive events in our personal lives will bring new opportunities for growth and evolution. Yeah. So look at his body. It looks like he's been all torn apart. And this is how you felt when he came rushing in, all gangbusters, swinging that sword without much thought to your vulnerability, your sensitivity, right? This was really kind of a rough encounter, and it cut you to the core. I see that. But the good news is, look what comes out of it, okay? A little bit of a pause, a little bit of a pulling back, and you rebuilding yourself with light. Look at all this light and light codes, downloads, right? All this absorbing light. That's something that you can even do outside. Sit outside in the sun and just imagine yourself absorbing the light. But this call of the expression and the deepest calling, Spirit is absolutely saying to you, Divine Feminine, that it's time to take some action. Apply yourself. Study. This is about studying and finding your niche, whether it's a blueprinter or a starseed, or you're clearing for the land, or you're healing through art. Like, what is your destiny? That's going to strengthen you as all this mashigana from him goes on, because he's got all this big, powerful energy, but the way it comes out, it's a bit much to take. And the stronger and more solid you get, you know, you'll start to match that inner strength. He has that inner strength, but this needs to come forward. He needs to, you know, he needs to start acting more out of this, you know, beautiful, confident, compassionate tamer of the lion. This is what's on the inside, but this is still how he's showing up. Page of Swords. It's like, dude, did you really say that to me? That kind of stuff. And that, he's got to work that out. He's got to absolutely work that out, okay? So take this time and upgrade, okay? Upgrade your light codes and get yourself emotionally cleared of some of the resentment and anger that you're carrying around, and get yourself more emotionally stabilized and hooked into something that is stronger, more fluid, more of a goddess level, so that, you know, he can't come at you like that. All right, this has got to stop, and it stops by him shifting. That's his thing to figure out, but it also stops by you becoming so upgraded and powerful in yourself that he wouldn't even think of talking to you like that anymore. All right, you got to get the kick me sign off your back, and the more you are flailing emotionally, the bigger that sign is on the back. Okay, so get it off. All right. I hope that's helpful. There's definitely work to be done here, and you know, let me know your thoughts about that. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I'll see you next week. Okay, bye-bye. Welcome, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. We're going to be working with the Radiant Rider Waite, one of my favorite good old hometown decks, and we've got a lapis lazuli stone here, which is for communication, 5th chakra. So if you've been having some communications issues with your beloved, that's a really great stone to be working with, speaking your truth. Just want to say hello to my new subscribers, and for those of you who've reached out to me for private readings, I'm really looking forward to meeting you. If you've been watching and you're getting something out of the readings, please do hit those like buttons or share them, and subscribe if you haven't already. Really helps the channel to grow. So we're going to be looking at how did he feel the last time he saw you, and we're going to be also looking at what kind of trajectory that set him on emotionally and spiritually, and also what's shifting because of that energy. Every time twin souls, advanced souls, soulmates get together, there's usually a spark of energies that need to be integrated. So we're going to be looking at that trajectory in the journey. So let's see how it felt. The Tower. Boom. Okay. The Chariot. And the King of Wands. Wow, this is really powerful, Pile 2. So the last time he saw you was a major shift for him. Okay, it caused things that he thought to be real and true and solid in his life to fall apart. He had created a false platform of reality that could have been, you know, work or his buddies or other romances that he's been involved with. And because of your last meeting, it's like the floor went out from underneath him. And all the false egoic things that he was relying on came apart. The Tower comes through. It's kind of a scary looking card at times because it's about everything crashing to the ground, but it's always positive. It's always positive because it is the universe forcing somebody to let go of what's not working. You've got these 2 sevens coming out right away, the Tower and the Chariot. So clearly powerful. The 7 is about being divinely guided. So he was holding on to things and resisting change. not wanting to change, until the universe finally came up behind him and kicked him square in the booty. Okay, this is like, if you're not going to make the change, we're going to make it for you. So this is forces even beyond you and beyond your control coming in to push him forward. This is the end and the beginning of a new cycle, because it is about things falling away. And the Seven of Chariot coming right out is really positive, because it's, see how this man is just, this is someone who's moving forward, moving along. He, after this sort of cataclysmic break in his psyche, he's pretty ready to move forward, to really confront what needs to be confronted in his life, to level up. This Chariot has a power, has courage to it. There's a balance. It's a very twinny card, because there's, you know, these sphinxes, the dark and light, representing this balance of yin yang. The canopy of stars above his head is about divinity coming in. It's a youthful energy, but he moves right into the King of Wands. And the seventh also can represent experience, you know, getting more experience in life. He has integrated fully everything that he let go. See, this is like a crack in time, and everything that came before it, he is super aware of what it meant. And he's ready to turn a new leaf and moving into this King of Wands energy. And kings are about knowledge and like a mastery. And the King of Wands, the wands represents spirituality. And it's very mature energy. It's very solid. It's grounded in the earth realm as well. He's got the red cloak on. And he is one of the few kings that's gazing, if you look at the Rider-Waite deck, at the Queen. So he is stepping into the beginnings of this divine masculine energy. He's not quite in that Emperor energy yet. We'll see what comes out. But he's integrating that. The wands are also a sexual energy. So it's definitely moving him. This big kind of violent shakeup is definitely moving him towards union and partnership. This very strong coming right out of the gate here. Okay, so this guy's on the move. All right, let's see what shifted, caused him to shift. The Knight of Cups, the Hierophant, and the Queen of Swords. So what's shifting is this deep feeling of renewed romance with you. The Knight of Cups is just that beautiful offering of love. He's got a bit of a river to cross. It's almost like he knows that he has to start kind of hit the restart button with you. This is what's happened to him internally. And so out here on in the real world, on the earth plane, it's again causing him to recycle back and re-offer this kind of fresh young energy, sort of getting back to something that is loving with you. And he's willing to relearn what it's going to take to do that. This is also, the Hierophant is higher learning, and it's traditional learning. So this is a masculine who's but he's willing to relook at how he's actually functioning in a relationship. Like, what are his communication skills? What are his behavior? How does one get themselves into a healthy relationship in the nitty-gritty, in the real world? And he's willing to do that work. Like, this is someone who's maybe even willing to go into therapy, someone who's kind of looking at some maybe even some self-help books and talk about like how to be a better partner, how to really work through that kind of stuff. And he's willing to face the truth. The Queen of Swords is a woman that can be kind of harsh with her truth. And this has been you in the past, where you've said some very clear, articulate truths to him in the past. He might have run away from those, but now he's starting to realize that a lot of what you have said to him is about him and about the connection is actually the truth. And even though it's had some harshness to it, and it's been a little bit painful and difficult to face, coupled with that higher learning card, he's willing to hear it now. It's almost like maybe seeds that have been planted in the past between the two of you. They stayed in there. They stayed lodged in there. So even if he brushed it away or walked away from what you said, he heard you. He heard you. And it's almost like, oh yeah, she said that about these codependent, egoic things I was involved with. He didn't want to hear it, but now it's all fallen apart, and he's realizing that you were right. That you were right about a lot. Wait, I'm going to switch. Let's ask what you were right about. Let's put some emotional intelligence cards now. What is it about this guy? What did you say to him that you were right about, that he needed to learn about? Isolated. So your divine masculine was the kind of person that thought it's one to a box in this lifetime, right? The Marlboro man. I'm on my own. I don't need anybody. I'm not connected to anybody. I'm all alone. I'm on my own, right? And now he's coming into a more spiritual awareness that he is not just divinely connected to you, but he's divinely connected to all people, to the collective, that he is a spiritual being having a human experience. He's starting to come out of that singular, see the darkness in the tower? It's like this singular tower in this card, clothed in this darkness, right? It's broken apart. This is someone who's having a spiritual awakening. You know, they say in spirituality, the first lesson of spirituality is that you are alone. And the second lesson of spirituality is you are not alone. And he's realizing that he's not alone. Your divine masculine experienced some very sad, isolated childhood experiences, deep childhood wounds where he felt alone in the world, very disconnected from his parents, very disconnected from his mother. This is why he didn't respond well to some of your harsher truths, because it reminded him of his mother, who was very cold and made him feel, I see him as like a little baby just floating alone in the world. And some of this is what you were saying to him, especially in your connection. You know, you're not alone. Reach out to people, connect with people, be vulnerable with people. And he had these walls, right? These tower walls built around himself. And he's coming, this is very powerful. I'm getting a very deep feeling here. Almost feel like I want to cry. This is someone who's like stepping into the light for the very first time. Let's go a little deeper with the tarot here. We're going to ask what's he shifting towards? What's coming up for him in the next cycle? These are very connective. And oh gosh, Nine of Pentacles. Page of Wands. Page of Swords. Lots of messages coming through towards you. The Nine of Pentacles energy, I usually read for the Divine Feminine, but in this case, I believe that this is for him. He is going to be stepping into Nine of Pentacles energy for himself. He's having an upgrade in the divine feminine side within himself. This is somebody who is unto themselves, right? They're progressing very beautifully into self-love, and part of this step is on the earth plane to be in a place where they have their own abundance, they feel good on their own. This is his journey of self-love is on its way. If he's had financial trouble in the past, he's going to be coming out of that. This is an abundant garden, right? With everything at his disposal. This is somebody who's kind of okay being on their own. This will be a cycle that he'll need to go through before he can really start this new direction. Pages represent a change in new paths, sending messages to you that there's going to be a change in a new direction. The Page of Wands is hesitant. You know, he's kind of looking at that wand. That wand represents a spiritual body. It also represents coming forward sexually. It can have a little player energy attached to it sometimes, but the Page of Wands is a very fresh and young communicative energy. It's a little bit of a rough start when it comes to you. It's slightly immature, but it is a beginning. You might be kind of flailing a little bit. He's going to be trying to come through some of his mental confusion about you. He definitely, between this Knight of Cups and the Pages, you know, the Wands, this Knight of Cups energy is also balancing out the Page. Sometimes the Page can be a little bit of a warning of a player energy, but coming out with the Knight of Cups, it balances that energy. So he's feeling romantic towards you. He's also feeling freshly sexual towards you. He might make a couple of passes at you. He might be reaching out. It might feel a little clunky. This Page is the first steps on the road towards communicating. There's a lot of internal learning that will go on in terms of communication. How he's actually able to execute that might be a little awkward or a little difficult. So I'm going to say, you know, be a little easy on him if some of the first volleys that come across aren't completely skilled or completely what you had in mind. He can be a little bit cutting in his communication or a little careless. He might say some things that feel a little hurtful. And you know, he's sort of got that little sort of F-boy, fuckboy energy coming through. This just portends sort of a rocky restart. Once he gets himself settled, it's like he's coming out of the gate, but it's like, you know when you see like a little baby horse born and they're still shaking on their legs. So that's what it might feel like to you, but there is a tremendous shift behind it. He's just kind of unskilled. Spiritually, you know, he's moving through that King of Wands. It's just how it manifests might be a little hard to take for you. Let's get a message from his higher self about that. All right, what's he struggling with in terms of, you know, moving this big fifth dimensional shift into some third dimensional reality? Ego death. Yeah, be patient. Be patient with him. The ways that he used to be, the ways that he used to communicate, the way he was being in the world, this big crash, you know, when you smash something down that is that huge in somebody's life, right? That's the ego death. Everything came down. The reconstruction of it, it's like you don't build Rome in a day. So this is a warning to you, Divine Feminine, to not expect total divine mastery out of this guy right away. Let him get himself grounded and just observe and be, you know, loving and patient. Doesn't mean you have to drop your boundaries, you know. But it does ask you to just take things kind of slow until he gets his bearings a little bit more. Let's get a romance card for you. Heart-to-heart conversations. Honestly, discuss your feelings with each other. So this patience that Spirit is calling upon you to have, don't misguide that for not having boundaries. If there are hurtful things that get said, or sort of a sexual situation that gets offered to you that still feels a little uncomfortable, you can discuss it. Like if somebody, like if a guy wants to sleep with you, but he's still sleeping with other women, like you can ask him that. You can say, oh, are you sleeping with anybody else right now? Oh, you are? Okay, well, I'll wait. I'm not comfortable sleeping with a man who's got other lovers at this time. But you know, I feel really open to exploring something with you. So let me know when you're interested in that. You know, this is really also about you also going into this Hierophant energy and this Queen of Swords energy, sharing that energy with him, and upgrade your level of communication, Divine Feminine. So you can speak authentically from yourself, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. If somebody says something hurtful, to be able to say, like that felt kind of yucky when that got said. I you know, it doesn't work for me, or I don't like feeling like that when somebody speaks to me that way. So this is calling upon you also to learn how to communicate your boundaries in ways that are healthy and not reactive, not, you know, throwing a plate of spaghetti across the room, right? When he's in this young, immature energy, it's going to require an upgrade and a study on your part. Let's get some guidance for your Divine Feminine, yeah? There's a wonderful course out there, by the way. I know I mentioned a lot on my channel, but there's a woman, Allison Armstrong, who's out there that has a course called Understanding Men. Kay Moon had her on a while ago, and it's invaluable information. There's also another woman, Rory Ray, who talks about how, and Christian Carter. There's some great stuff out there about 3D communication. Because I'll be honest, a lot of you guys get in touch with me, and some of the stuff that you say to men, it's you cannot be their teacher, and you can't scold them, you can't school them, you can't be their mother, but you do want to learn how to not be a doormat, right? So it's kind of going somewhere in the middle, not being a doormat on one hand and not being, you know, their mom on the other hand, which, you know, nobody wants to sleep with their mother, right? Pillar of light, your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. So again, Divine Feminine, you're being called to upgrade your energies. All right? You are in a place where you can really trust what you know to be this shift that you're feeling that's going on. This is really, really quite powerful and quite beautiful. Also, some of you might look into reading for yourselves as well. This might be a time to look at mission. You might want to look at reading Oracle and Tarot yourself as well, or mediumship, or just healing of some sorts. This is, look at this gorgeous card. See her being bathed in the waters. So your Divine Masculine is just learning how to like be a decent bloke in the world, right? How to sort of get it together. Ego destruction, right? He's going through ego death. You've built a solid foundation for yourself. And in these energies that are coming, because there's some separate energies coming astrologically from the time of this reading on, So this is time for you to be looking at the depths of your being. Look at all this deep, deep water that she's in, right? The depths of the emotional being. This is like the oracle at Adelphi. This is you upgrading your psychic energies and becoming a light being and a light bearer for the collective. Your masculine is being divinely guided. You can loosen the reins a little bit in terms of his spiritual healing. You've actually achieved enough. He's had a huge, huge breakthrough. And he's got some, 3D work here to do. Yours is very 5D, and it's not even connected to him. Your 5D work is about your mission and what you came here to do, to be part of this collective shift on the universe. So if you've had any thoughts of something in the healing modalities that you've wanted to learn, like, Reiki or anything like that, this is the time, this cycle coming up from the time of this reading on, or any time that you're getting this is you cycling up. There's stars here in the sky that I am getting that you are from the Pleiades, or you're a starseed. There's rainbow here in the light, so there are light transmissions that are being downloaded between now and especially up through this year's solstice. So spend time in meditation, absorbing the higher light, higher energies, divine light, Christ consciousness energies. This is really, really stunning place for you. This is a very singular card. Again, pulling this up again, there's so much in this. Look how she's a singular figure. This is not a necessary union energy, even though you guys have the ability to speak to each other more deeply about what's going on. But this is divine work that you're very much working on your own. Your ascension level's like kind of really way higher than his, but it will bring him along. We're going to finish with just we're going to look in the Lover's Oracle, okay? And we're going to get a message here from your counterpart's higher self, just a message of support and guidance coming off of that twin energy. It's this beautiful card. Look, again, she's got this beautiful angelic energy. Acceptance is the key to inner peace. At times, we must accept things as they are. There is no point trying to change that which is beyond our control. So I'm going to place up here by these strong sevens that came out, and let you know, Divine Feminine, that you have every ability to trust in divine timing. I know that's kind of cliche, but everything here has been really, really guided. You guys, you've built up a certain momentum of energy that you can sort of ride out here. You might feel a little disappointed that he's not more skillful to meet you at this high level that you're at. I think that's right here is also what you're needing to accept, is that you guys are not really at the same vibration. But in this couple, this is not a couple where it's creating intense conflict. There's some things that need to be cleared as far as hurts from the past and where you are now, and the truths of your relationship, what is true now, what is not true now, speaking authentically from the heart. And it might not be something that's coming to fruition right now. It's on the way, but you're very much in a process, but you're in a healthy part of this process. I mean, this ego death card coming out for him, this is powerful. You know, this is really, this is beautiful, because this is his first step to really stepping fully into his spirituality. So it's about, you know, being where you are with this right now and trusting that you guys are heading in the right direction, because you really are. All right? Okay, so thank you again so much for stopping by. If you made it to the end of this reading, again, please do hit those like buttons and share and subscribe. I'd love to reach out to more of you. And I'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye-bye. Welcome, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading. You've chosen the Goddess Tarot with this beautiful pyrite. Pyrite's for abundance. And abundance can mean a lot more than money. It can mean flow, everything that you want to manifest coming towards you, everything in the universe that has your name on it coming forward with ease. So, so we're going to take a look today at how he felt the last time he saw you. You're together. We're also going to look at the trajectory that sent him on and what's shifting now. And as we get started, just want to ask you guys, if you're enjoying these readings and get something out of them, please do hit the like button or share it with somebody. Leave me a comment. The channel's really growing and it's exciting to see, and I'm hoping to reach more people, and I just appreciate your support. I want to say hello to the new subscribers as well. Okay, so just a word with the Goddess Tarot. This tarot uses goddesses in the major arcana, and some goddesses I'm very familiar with, and some I'm going to be referring to. Oops, here we go. You know what? I'm not going to take that though. I'm not going to take that one. Okay, so let's focus the question. How do you feel? What's this experience? Last time you guys were together. Okay, the 5, which is tradition, and that's the Hierophant. 4, power. This one's the goddess Juno, the 5. This one is Freya, which is the divine masculine. This is the Emperor. And the 8 of Cups. Let's just keep going here. What trajectory did that send him on? Oh, the 4 of Wands. The King of Cups. And the 4 of Cups. That's so interesting, the 4 of Wands and the 4 of Cups out together. All right, that's a little conflict there. And what's shifting for him? 10 of Cups. Ace of Cups. Girl. And the 6 of Cups. Babuya. Okay. This is good news for you if you chose this pile. This is really powerful. All right. So when he saw you, the 5, the tradition, this represents higher traditional learning. He learned something really fundamental about himself and his relationship to his own masculinity and what it means to be fully in his power and a full, powerful man. Like, he felt powerful with you. It's like he got plugged into something, into like a power cord going into something that he had not felt in a really long time. Now, it sent him into an inner journey. It's like he got a strong hit of his divine masculine identity, and he had to kind of take a little bit of a break from that. He might even be in that a little bit still now, to acclimate to the upgrade that he received in your presence. Now, this could be a short journey, it could have been a long journey, but definitely a journey into facing his deep fears about commitment, fears about whether he can cut it as a man, whether he is powerful and together enough to really partner with Juno. Juno, by the way, was the the wife of Zeus. So this is tradition, and in that this is the highest level of queenly energy. So this was a major shift for him. He saw really clearly that the jig is up on being a Peter Pan or being boyish. He saw really clearly that this is that you're his divine partner for sure. And he may have retreated from that experience though, because he has to face things within himself, his insecurities. Really, again, this thing about not really being able to, to cut it. That really came up for him really, really strong. And in his defense, like a real consciousness of knowing that if he's going to be that guy, then he has to dig down and do some inner work. But it's very aware guy. Juno in the Greek, she was also a patroness of marriage and traditional rites of passage in women's lives, it says. The goddess, she was believed to watch and protect all women. So he knows your marriage material. He got it. That this woman, that you're a wife, a partner. This is not a woman to be toyed with or dishonored or played around with. So however you stood in your power, divine feminine, you did a good job. This is just, I know this represents what he went through, but this is how he saw you, as the powerful woman. I'm going to take a little, I'm not familiar with the goddess Freya, so I'm going to take a look here. The Norse goddess of creativity, love, and beauty shows that true power lies in the ability to discriminate between aggression and passivity, and the ability to choose between them at this time. Okay, so he was also really sent into this journey about learning the difference between toxic masculinity and being a wuss. Just being weak. That some masculines have, especially if they have a lot of feminine energy, they can have kind of a challenge stepping into full masculine power because they have almost like a disdain for it. They don't want to be that guy. They don't want to be that toxic masculine guy. And so they kind of choose between these polarities of being either like, sexist, racist, domineering, that kind of thing, or just being completely powerless and passive. So the really powerful thing about this connection with you, because you stood so strongly in your femininity, Juno has that beautiful balance between having that soft, feminine, receptive quality that you have, but you've also really balanced it. She's the queen. She's Zeus's wife, right? She looks over all women. So she's got this beautiful balance inside of you that you've achieved between the masculine and feminine energies. And it gave him an insight that he could find a way of being a man that balances those two things, right? He doesn't have to be an a-hole, but he also doesn't have to be a doormat. That there's something between the two, and this goes to what he's here for spiritually in terms of the collective masculine, that he's here to forge this new balance of male power. See, Freya, she's almost in this kind of like a chariot, very similar to Apollo. Okay, so this is beautiful that a masculine can be creative as well. They can have that creative power, as well as being really active, strong, and on the go, in charge, all that testosterone energy of moving forward on the hunt and the journey, right? On these journeys. But boy, does he have to think about it and unearth some things. Now, what trajectory did it send him off in? Well, the Four of Cups is the Union card. Whatever, this meeting between you guys sent him energetically in your twin combined journey towards union. And he also, this Eight of Cups turning into the King of Cups, it's also sent him into the trajectory of mastering his emotional body. The King of Cups is about knowledge and the depths of feeling. Scorpio energy. This is someone who feels things very, very deeply. It began to expand his emotional landscape, his awareness of his inner emotional landscape. Now, this is someone who's having a lot of feelings about you, but he may not be expressing them. There's a bit of a secretive energy here. And he does have a mastery of what to say and when to speak, but there's some rough seas that have come up for him, and examining these depths. You know, he made a lot of progress. He started on that journey, and boy, did he go down into it, because he got such a strong hit of this marriage card. Look at this four of staves, it's called here. This marriage card sitting right under Juno, who represents marriage. I will say, though, that he's fighting it. He's needing some time to integrate this huge electrical charge he got from you, because the Four of Cups, so she's got her eyes closed. This is about not really seeing what's being offered and kind of refusing it. See that moon? See, the moon's behind. And this one, she's facing that moon. And this one, she's got her back to it. And what's that? It's telling me that he can only take this in spurts. This was such an intense connection of twins that think of it this way, like, you know, when an athlete works a muscle really hard and then they need to rest from it, and then they work it really hard and they need to rest of it. This went so deep inside of him that he has to take breaks from it. So you might feel a bit of an inconsistency with him sort of showing up and vanishing, because it gets intense for him. And he's a little frightened by it, and he wants to push it away, but I'm telling you, he's not really going to be able to, because these energies are so powerful, so strong, and so clear that he might be going on as, I'm looking, I'm not looking, I'm looking, I'm not looking, I'm looking, I'm not looking. He might be doing that within himself, but he's gonna be overpowered by the clarity of what he experienced. You know, it's one of those things that once you see something, the truth of something, you really can't turn your back on it. And what's shifting for him, this incredible lineup, it's every card that every divine feminine wants to see. The 10 of Cups, which is happily ever after. Look at that rainbow. All wishes fulfilled. Ace of Cups, new love, self-love, underneath him and for both of you, self-love achieved, and the Six of Cups, which is the soulmate card. All right, it's these twins or soulmates coming back together. Look at those beautiful flowers blooming. So this is a couple that's heading towards union, and it could be kind of rapid. I don't say that often if you follow me. But this is a strong energy coming towards you. He's chewing on it. Don't push him. I don't even have to pull the oracle cards at this point. I'm going to. Don't push him. Okay? He has had a huge download, and he's doing a really good job about thinking about this. Okay? So chillax, divine feminine. Stay in this energy, in this beautiful Juno energy. Okay? Zeus's wife does not chase. She doesn't fret. She's all-knowing, and she looks over all women in every phase of their life, in every cycle of life. So honor the cycle that you're in as well. And you might want to call on this goddess. All right, marriage goddesses. And meditate upon that energy to stay in that power. I want to look at this this inner journey and ask what fears is he facing. Let's get specific about that. What's he looking at? Reckless. And I want to ask, what is it that he's not wanting to see? What's that holdout stuff? Ashamed. So he's been reckless in the past with you, and I got a strong hit that it's not just this lifetime. These are karmic patterns here, where he's dropped you on your head a lot. He's blown this relationship up a lot. He's been reckless in love, reckless with other women as well too. I know I don't like to talk about karmics and all the time, but he's been a bit of a, not just a playboy. So for some of you that might be true, but just not really skilled enough to honor and really deeply take care of a divine feminine. Been a little bit of a bull in a china shop, and he feels ashamed about it. It's hard for him to look at that part of himself. He's looking, but it's painful, and this is almost taking a little bit of a purge. I'm going to actually pull a past life card here and see what kind of lifetimes this might be referring to. Now in these, I'm gonna have to take a little bit of a second here and go in. I'm gonna do a whole past life read next week. This might not resonate for all of you. Actually, I felt so strongly about this. We're gonna look at 3 here. 3 past lives. That one's Russian, I think. And that one. Okay, so I'm going to very, very kind of quickly just go to a referral about what past lifetimes you might be able to look at in terms of clearing. This is contemporary Western. So this is kind of in the United States and European countries. This can be anywhere. This is earlier in this century. This one here. This one we have here is in Russia. Just take this if it, the Russian Byzantine Empire. Somewhere around the 1400s. I'm gonna just, because we're gonna go, hang in there with me for a second, gals, okay? Because we're gonna take a little excursion here about some things that you might be able to clear in your connection with each other. This last one takes a little second. Chikun Akuma in Sudan. This is in Africa. And this goes around 1250, okay? So this is European, late 19th, early 20th century. 1200s Byzantine and earlier in the Sudan. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull some twin experience cards on these lifetimes. If any of those resonate with you, great. I'm just relying on your own guidance right there. Yeah, what came out? Akashic records. Okay, we're going to go into the Akashic records here and get some twin messages about what are the main issues that you're clearing as a unit, as a duo in these lifetimes. Your name, surrender, and feeling your presence. Okay, so in this lifetime, this contemporary lifetime, there is something that he did, this reckless behavior, there's something that he, like a crime that he committed, or some kind of scandal Might be a sexual scandal that he committed that tarnished your family together, tarnished your good name. He either had to go to prison and left you kind of stranded. Your whole life together fell apart. So as I'm saying these, this is a general reading, so just take what resonates around these. And feel free to do any kind of past life meditating and see if you can flesh out the story. I'm just getting some hits for some of you. This Russian lifetime, we have the male and the female here. This is a lifetime where, this is for you in here, that you both, there was just a lot of conflict where you were a couple, but you absolutely refused to surrender to each other spiritually. This was a lot of egoic, bitter fighting that went on between the two of you. Major power struggles, and clearing this is going to help both of you to be able to surrender to the connection. This one in the Sudan, the feeling your presence, this was actually really beautiful energy in this past life, where the two of you built a very strong ability to feel each other connected in the 5D in your twin flame thing. So this is a lifetime, an energy that you could actually go to strengthen and or repair any of the 5D bridges in your 5D connection. For some of you, you were separated in the desert. I'm getting like nomadic bands, different tribes, and you were separated for life through some kind of, it's not all out warfare, but it almost feels like a capture or trade. Someone was captured and traded out to another tribe. And there's a lot of grief involved there. So you could go and clear that. For some of you, it's about clearing that space so that you can be more connected in the 5D. Okay, so we have some Akashic record information that's come through in this reading, which is just really beautiful right now. I'm going to get a little guidance for you, Divine Feminine. All right, to see how you can hold this energy, this Juno energy. Let's just get some messages from Spirit here for you. Okay, I'm going to do the Sacred Destiny Oracle, Enlightenment, Moonology deck. It's going to say, this is what the shifting, show the world the real you. And lastly, we're going to take a little message from your twin's higher self to you. A little message from your beloved here. Okay. So coming out first, the Enlightenment, and I'm putting this right next to the Juno card because this is, we're getting this. This happened in the other pile too. This is coming out in the collective a lot. This is the time to really ascend into full enlightened being. You've done a great job, Divine Feminine. You are really close to this powerful, powerful energy. Again, the feminine light's the way of the healing, but this isn't just about healing your connection. This is about you as a soul becoming fully enlightened, which is what we all really come to this planet over and over and over again. And sitting next to this queen of, you know, the queen of heavens, you are on the verge of going there. And this is a sailboat. This is a boat, the wind's in the sails, and it's going up, up, up into the galaxies. Show the world the real you. This is the trajectory you're on. So this means to let go of any ways that you've been holding back, of showing and sharing with people, actually, this journey that you've been on and the beauty and the power of it. This is also, see this purple, right? This is the third eye chakra. This is also the enlightenment. Allow the people around you, not just the divine feminine community, but the people that rely on you, the people that find inspiration from you, to know that you have been on this incredible journey. Let people know about it. People want to hear what people are going through at this time and what the power of this journey has been. And that we are in this time of a massive shift in this consciousness. It is time for you to bring what you've been through with your divine masculine and take the lessons and the ascension and bring it not just out into the twin flame community or even the enlightened soul communities or the ascended soul communities, but out really broadly. People are thirsty. We're coming out of COVID as this tape is being made. People are thirsty to grow, to look within. People, in my experience, they are very open-minded to hearing about this journey and this move from the 3D to the 5th dimensional paradigm. Start letting people know and be that leader. What's shifting? The message from your masculine. Look at this sweetness, how he sees you. Imagine all unwanted thoughts dissolving into light, creating room for new opportunities and possibilities for your life. So this is just, you are really clearing out the final darkness and becoming a master of your mental body. Enlightenment ultimately is mastering the mind. And you're there at an ability to sort of master your negative thinking. When you see those negative thoughts coming out, of turning them around, picking the positive vibration, directing your vibration, directing your thoughts actively, you're right at the door of being able to do this all the time. And when you get into that, then wherever he's wobbling, you will not be thrown by that at all. There's a great book. I know I've recommended it before, but it's one of Wayne Dyer's books. It's called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. And it's messages from the Tao Te Ching. They're daily messages, and it's very much about releasing negative thinking. So I would really recommend that, because you're shifting into a space of just divine union with self. This card here, this is the love for each other and the love of self. So this is where your work can focus, because it also can stop you from having negative thoughts when he's kind of flip-flopping like a bit of a fish. But this will really help you to stay steady in that Juno energy, okay? I'm going to be putting out a meditation soon for going into past lives and doing your clearing. So, do keep an eye open for that. You can go on my website and join the website, be a subscriber over there, as well as the YouTube, and you'll get I'll be sending out notifications on that, as well as my yoga classes. Kundalini yoga is excellent for negative thinking. And I'll be putting something together, because we're going to be really working into this Akashic area a little bit more. So, stop by also my website if you'd like to have a private reading. I'd love to meet you guys, okay? And I'll see you next week. Hope that was helpful. Hey, Pile 4, welcome to your reading. Last but not least, we've got the Starchild Tarot here with this beautiful Celestine heart, which I know everyone loves this stone so much. It's so sweet and so precious. Okay, let's get started. First, I want to say hello and thank you to all my new subscribers, and thank you guys for hitting those like buttons, and do leave comments. I'd love to hear from you. Really appreciate all that. If you get something from the reading, please go ahead and join in. So we're going to be looking at how he felt the last time he saw you, We're also going to be looking at the trajectory that sent him on and what's shifting now and any other kind of messages from your divine counterpart. So let's take a look. See what happened last time. Okay. All right. We've got, the Knight of Cups. The Star Seed. Yeah. And the Ten of Wands. Okay, let's see the trajectory that sent him on. The Queen of Cups. The Nine of Wands. And the King of Swords. And what's shifting? The Chariot. The Eight of Swords. And the Page of Cups. This complex guy here you got. All right. So when he saw you the last time, he definitely had a deep feeling of romance and an inner awakening. There was a download. This is the Syrian starseed energy coming in to the heart chakra. There was an awakening in the heart, a deep, deep connection to the fact that both you guys are really from someplace else, from another galaxy, you know. And yet it caused him to feel incredibly burdened. And he was burdened not by you, but the weight of the awakening. It kind of freaked him out a little bit. He had a bit of a light code transmission. And, that's something that we can all feel when we start to become aware of the spiritual size of what we signed up for. Sometimes it's just easier to check out, right? Divine Feminine, sometimes, we all kind of sit there and go, why did I take this on? What was I thinking? And he had a little bit of a hit of that. It's really important for you, however, to not take that personally. I know that's kind of easier said than done, but it's true. The good news on that, though, is that he did have that sort of Casanova feeling with you. He's very keen on you. It was a steady, considered, slightly inexperienced feeling in love, but it was just a charming, romantic sort of feeling of being, swept off the feet, but it's not a very mature energy. It was, and it's interesting because in the 3D zone with you, he felt that really kind of light opening of romance, but there was something so deep that got set off between that, and I think it's the disparity between that. This Knight of Cups is really, in relation to you, and look how in this card she's just sort of tentatively looking over at that cup, like the cup's opened up, and the ocean, there's some turbulent water behind in this version of the card. And I'm going to bring this up one more time because you can see those ancient stones. So there was also in this one a recognition of some really ancient connection. Look at the galaxies up above, okay? So in this occurrence with you, there was a very clear feeling of being connected in past lives, in other dimensions. So there's a sweetness and a simplicity here, but this look on her face, so she's a little worried about it. And this is just something, Divine Feminine, that you have to just allow him to go through. It's that first kind of freaky feeling when you first start to wake up. I love this 10 of Wands though, because it's a very twinny image, right? Definitely an awareness of twin flame energy. Very sexy feeling, but definitely coupled with the feeling of the weight of it. Okay, so a little bit of freak out there on his part, but that's just really in terms of him dealing with his own spiritual identity. The trajectory that it sent him on, again, you know, this sort of combining of really deep emotional opening and awarenesses with a sense of sort of, you know, burden and making it to the end. This Nine of Wands in the center represents a determination to complete the circle. So even though he had this sort of disturbing woo-woo, like, oh, this is really weird sense, there was anchored in the center of him a determination to unveil it. So you've got this sort of sacred geometry in the middle of this circle. He felt like, you know, I don't know what this is with this woman, but I need to find it out. It's coupled with the King of Swords, which is about truth, mastering clear truth and knowledge. He wants to know what the heck that was with you. The Queen of Cups is telling us that he's having a really deep emotional experience. This is sort of like a spiritual explosion, and it sort of dropped down into an emotional opening. And yet the Queen is very hesitant to sort of tip her hat emotionally. There's this strength. You see this kind of cougar here. She's holding the cup, but she's able to sort of hold back their feelings. So he definitely went on a deep emotional journey, but he's probably not showing it to you very much. It opened, there's a new moon in here. It opened up a new well, a new pocket of feeling in him that he started to experience for the first time. And he's curious about it. He's curious, and he's determined to figure it out. The 9 can be about milestones. This was and it sits here really in the significant center. This was a major charge that he got, and he knows it. He knows it, and he wants to move forward. This is 3 faces here on this gentleman. So he's got that main face forward, looking for the truth, and then there's sort of hidden truths behind. He's starting to realize that he's a multifaceted human being in ways that he wasn't aware of before. These are like the spirit body, the soul body. He's got a halo around him, an auric field. He had an awakening, and he's determined to go on that journey. He knows that it got sourced or sort of switched on by you. But the energy of this journey right now does seem kind of singular. But I wouldn't say totally separate. Does that make sense? It's not like he's cut you off. It's just like he's got that sort of a little bit on the shelf. Look, she's over here, standing over here. There's singular energy, and he's facing away from it. He needed a little bit of a space to figure out his own identity before he can really come into that exploration of identity with you. This is a theme that's coming out really strongly. You're looking very directly ahead at him, and keep your gaze on him. Keep your spiritual gaze on him. You can be talking to him in 5D about the connection. I'm really getting a sense of the 6th chakra here. The third eye, her third eye, it's not depicted here, but it's coming out so strongly towards him. Keep thinking of connecting from that third eye energy. Okay, it's going to help him to download more knowledge. He wants more knowledge about exactly what this is. You know, he's got these different phases here. He's even becoming aware of like sub-personalities and different, like the spiritual structure of his being, you know, that there's different meridians and auric fields and bodies and stuff like that. He's starting to realize that life is not just what, you know, we see in front of us. What's shifting, you know, the Chariot coming out right ahead, divine guidance, full speed ahead, right? But in this, he's very alone in the desert, moving forward. And again, there's this kind of conflict between what he clearly sees and knows and wants to run towards, and then this Eight of Swords energy, which is being trapped in one's own mind. See, the swords are kind of, again, he's sitting alone in there. There's this Ankh in the top, which is this truth and the rainbow, but he's still struggling mentally. He's kind of having those moments of, have I lost my mind? This is totally weird. You know, that kind of place when you're in a spiritual awakening where you go, oh yes, I completely see the truth of this. And then you have those moments where you think like, am I completely daft? Like if I told my friends about this, they would think I was completely crazy. So that's really coming up with him. And yet in the center of it is this beautiful Page of Cups energy, this beautiful offering, this new direction towards you. You know, you've got the Page and the Knight of Cups. So it's a new direction and action, romantic action taken in your direction. But again, it's very young, it's very fresh, it's very new. And the spiritual energies are like ancient and huge and deep. So this big shift in him is kind of very sort of slowly dripping down into this sort of sweet little, you know, connection that he wants to have with you. It's not huge and sweeping right now. It's just, he's kind of thinking about it. He's kind of feeling it. But the shakeup is so huge. He's got to adjust to it. He's got to adjust to it, okay? I want to take a look here in the Eight of Swords energy and see exactly what it is that's causing him to sort of get stuck in his own mind. Because that's a little bit of a sticky wicket here. You know, it's kind of getting in the way of that charge forward. What's he hesitating about? What's the sense? Oh boy, something came desperate. I'm gonna chair back, ladies, and grab that one because it just blew out. And thankful. Let's look a little bit deeper here too. Electricity. Look at that. Look how similar that is there. Wow. That's really super interesting. And I'm going to take a little bit of a green tarot attraction. It's really positive cards coming out. It's really interesting. And one more here from the Sacred Destiny deck. Love. This is one of those people that has a really hard time letting in or believing. This is the Green Witch Oracle, by the way. Believing that love is possible. This kind of love is true. He's having a hard time believing it. This electricity, this Darcy thing, this huge hit of energy that came through him. Wildness, it says. Wildness. It was so wild for him that it kind of threw him off balance. And connecting that, he's wildly attracted to you. And this is really true, deep love. And he feels thankful for it. And yet that's what's coming up as the block. So could this be real? He doesn't really want to trust it. He's been so desperate in the past, and this desperate card goes in a lot of different directions. He's desperate to believe it, but he's afraid of looking desperate. He feels so vulnerable by that intensity. It's stripping him, these electric wires, it's like stripping those electricity wires down. He's lost such control. That feeling of loss of control on the inside has him so flipped out that it's causing him to feel desperate. And he's afraid of that. He's just shook up to the core by the whole thing. And if he can shut it down with his mind, he can get a little bit more grounded. So Divine Feminine, definitely spend time with your guides, or however you do your work, but grounding and protecting yourself. And if the twin flame, your twin, you can ask his guides, his higher beings, if that's okay. Get permission always. But this was such a jolt that keeping the two of you grounded would be really great, because he's got to integrate this really high level of an upgrade. All right. I want to see what other messages are coming through. I'm telling you, this is such a beautiful, intense amount of emotion. Before we go further, you've got both cups coming out, right? And the Queen of Cups. Lots of cups. Lots of feelings got stimulated here. But also, facing truths and feeling burdened by that truth. And it's fear. Fear of all this beauty coming in. Because you know what? If we don't care that much, if we don't feel that much, then there's not as much to lose, right? When someone's having a really huge experience, the fear of being devastated and destroyed by it comes up. And I know that we as feminines know what that feels like, right? To love that deeply and then to feel devastated by it. And this is kind of his turn to be going through all that. All right? What else is he going through? Protection and cave. Okay, so here. Same thing. Look at this being circled around, right? He would like to crawl back into his cave. There's an egg in here. It's mama's womb. He's got his heart covered. He knows all these beautiful birds and butterflies. There's something that's giving birth, but he would like to hide from that. And wouldn't we all, right? Wouldn't we all like to just hide from that? Let's get some messages from him for you, okay? Because he's grappling with an intensity. What are you supposed to do in the meantime? Virgo? You have Virgo energy? Nowhere to hide. All right. So he's saying, don't worry, because he's got nowhere to hide. This thing that has happened to him, he's not going to be able to go back from it. This is a really humorous little message to you. He's like, don't worry, sweetheart. I got nowhere to hide. He would like to hide, right? This comes right out after the cave, right? The Eight of Swords. I don't want to look. I want to hide in my cave. But it's not going to work out. Look how this is just sort of centered down here with all this awakening around him. The Virgo energy. We're going to say for you to stay really connected to the earth element. Virgos are also so good at keeping everything, organized in order. So just look around at your own life right now, Divine Feminine, and just keep your daily practices going. Keep your exercise going. Clean your house. Get yourself really balanced and anchored in your home. Get your food straightened out. You know, just keep that nice, steady. Virgos are they're such good workers, you know. They're really connected. And there's also that beautiful sort of divine feminine maiden energy that goes on with a Virgo. So spend some time cultivating your connection to your femininity. You know, get yourself some nice new clothes, pick out a nice new perfume. Find those really earthy, sensuous rituals to connect yourself deeper into who you are. That is going to magnetize him so much. So if you've been feeling kind of wretched and that desperate card coming out on you, go into that beautiful goddess energy of treating yourself, grooming yourself, you know, loving yourself, and loving yourself in a really physical way, you know, get yourself a nice body cream, just those kinds of things. Warm some oil, massage yourself before a nice cool shower, just all that kind of stuff. And this is going to help you to stay anchored and grounded, right? We were talking before about you have to ground this connection. He's in this wild energy, okay? And you're getting the earth energy as a way to anchor this thing. And Virgo is so much about beauty, cultivating your own beauty, your magnetism, steadiness, discipline, right? And it's going to allow him to sort of come into a steady, grounded landing. Yeah, that's going to be good. Okay, let's take a little look at, let's pull some relationship cards here. Let's see, a romance message for you. Worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life. Good job. Well, I mean, that's just self-explanatory. And look at this card. It's got the angels there. All right. So you've clearly done, you know, you've laid the seeds, and it's time to stay steady. And not only is this saying that that this connection is worth waiting for, I'm going to place it right here next to the Virgo card as a reminder that you are worth waiting for. You're worth waiting for. So again, cultivate that Virgo energy and allow yourself to be in the receptive mode. Even if some other male energy show up in the meantime, just allow it to come in from all angles. But this is, you know, combined with the Chariot over here, which is, again, divine timing. You've got divine timing twice because you've got the 7, which is divinely guided. The Chariot is full speed ahead. So even though he's, you know, flipping in and out of reality and having a hard time facing what's happened to him, it's all, the rhythm of this is all in the right zone and in the right move. All right. Another love message. Let's go into the Lover's Oracle. On this one, I've been using this one a lot for these readings. But we want to see a message from his higher self. Okay. It says here, don't make decisions based on guilt or what you think you should do, for it is only in being true to yourself that you can be true to others. Okay, well, that's some new information here, and I'm going to put it next to this information that we had about the Virgo energy and cultivating your divine self in a nice, sensual, earthy way. So in your day-to-day life, be aware of people pleasing and always putting other people before your own needs, right? Don't be extending yourself again, based on guilt and, oh, I got to do that for this person, I got to do that person, all right? Being true to yourself, take this time, all right? Draw some boundaries and, take the phone. I was going to say take the phone off the hook. Isn't that from a different decade? But you know what I'm saying? Just shut that stuff down for a little while. Salt baths in the new moon, silk sheets, a yummy dinner, some delicious time with friends, girlfriends, walks in nature, just bring into yourself everything that you need to have pleasure, right? That's even more than the love yourself thing, right? This is about bringing in your own sense of pleasure. And pleasure is going to connect you again to the earth realms and just be a nice sort of open, fertile space for him to show up in. I just love this new Work Your Light, the Oracle cards, okay? Let's just get a little bit more direction for you because he's definitely got a lot to integrate and think through. Soul family, call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. Isn't that wonderful? So in this sense of this Virgo energy, this is about soul sister time, connecting to other females. And this is such a twinny card. So definitely connecting out into both the twin flame and soulmate community. We've got these beautiful whales and dolphins here in the distance, and they are messengers from the other realms. So as we move towards the solstice, this is definitely a time to be like engaging in spiritual events, classes, being with other like-minded souls, especially other women. To delve, see this, they're delving in and out of the ocean, out of the emotional body, right? And keeping each other solidly on the ground. Again, these beautiful flowers. That's a very Virgo-y image too. These beautiful young maidens sitting in the flowers, sitting on the earth, connected to each other. So if you have any kinds of things that you've been thinking about doing, especially now that we're sort of coming out of COVID a bit, go ahead and do them. Workshops, solstice retreats, that kind of thing. Go ahead and sign up and get out there, okay? Get your feet down into the earth and feel that beautiful healing energy of other divine feminines loading their energy forms into you. You can pick up energies from the other divine feminines that you're connected to, and it can be very strengthening and very anchoring. So again, you're being asked to anchor using nature. Look at the flowers. I just noticed this for a second here. Look at all of these threes. Flowers, flowers, flowers. I just got this. Keep fresh flowers in your home. I called that one time in a reading months ago. But keep fresh flowers in your home. Absolutely. There's messages coming through there. Spending time in the garden. Flowers send messages through fragrance, right? And then you also have this sea creature messages. So this nature is talking to you, Virgo energy, even if you're not a Virgo energy. Nature is talking to you. So make sure that you're receiving your messages from nature, okay? And that is going to give him, you know what I'm saying? It gives him the space, but this guy needs an anchored energy to keep his feet on the ground. I'm kind of seeing his feet going off the ground. And the more you stayed anchored, the more it'll get him connected to the earth, connected to who he decided to incarnate at this time. Okay, all right, so I hope that's helpful. If it was, go ahead and hit that like button. Come on and subscribe. I'd love to have you here every week. If you'd like a private reading, go to my website, which is in the notes, and I'll see you next week. Okay, bye-bye.